Welcome back to Fast Market here on the Schwab Network. It's time for more earnings talk and our cash tag segment. For that, let's bring in Andy Swan. He's a co-founder at LikeFolio. Welcome back to the show, Andy.
Thank you.
All right, so we're talking Lululemon. I mentioned before the break, the stock hit all-time highs like literally the last day of 2023, and it's fallen and kind of consolidated down about 6-7% so far this year. Do you have data that's reflective of maybe the weakening, or maybe that the stock price was maybe a little bit overbought at the end of 2023?
Yeah, it might have been 2023, might have been end of the year window dressing. I think a lot of people chase some momentum into the end of the year and like to put on their books that they have a stock that's doing well. Overall, from a LikeFolio's perspective, Lululemon just keeps winning, and this is a company that we've been bullish on for a long time and continue to be. Everything that we see for Lululemon is quite positive, and really most importantly, I think, is the web visits data. We're seeing this up 25% year over year, which is really extraordinarily impressive when you consider how big Lululemon already was. This isn't a small cap company that's trying to make its way or trying to, win market share versus enormous peers. This is the big dog in the category, and they are absolutely crushing it. Last quarter, direct consumer sales were up 18%. We think that they can beat that this quarter based on our web visits data. And the other big thing for Lululemon is they have a very, very happy customer base. So they get a lot of return users, very loyal customer base. We see that in LikeFolio consumer happiness levels, 72% positive. Again, slightly better than peers. And overall, this is just a company that tends to execute really well. And they also tend to beat Wall Street expectations. The last 4 quarters, Lululemon has traded higher at the end of earnings week than it did at the beginning. And so for all of those reasons, we say, why not roll the dice on a bullish bet on this one? Again, I like the fact that the stock has pulled back a little bit this year.
Andy, there's premium athleisure, and then there's the most premium athleisure. And that's what Lululemon is. They are the most, but their loyal customer base and their affluent customer base, that seems, it seems like there's no inflation pressure on this company. Their margins are actually going up. It went up by 1% to 57%, their gross margins. So they're getting better. I don't know what negative thing I could say other than, it's not very far off its all-time highs, $35 or so off its all-time highs, and the overall market. But here's the one question, Andy. Is Nike, the problems going on at Nike, does any of that correlate over to Lululemon?
Yeah, the risk, I think, for Lululemon, and especially going into an earnings call, I would never put anything above a 65 or 70% probability directionally on an earnings call. There's always risk out there. There's always significant risk that you're wrong on direction. And so we always have to put that caveat out there. So what is the 30 or 35% chance that we could be wrong and Lululemon moves down? I don't think it's going to be based on consumer demand at all. The one thing I can say from a LikeFolio data's perspective is Lululemon is doing very, very well with consumers and is going to continue doing very, very well with consumers. What we don't know about is supply chain, is the cost of the goods in the pipeline, it is the impact of inventory levels or competitor discounting, that sort of thing. We don't know. So that's the 35% that could send the stock lower. But, overall, I think the one thing that we've noticed, and, I kind of chuckle every time I say it because I can't believe that, our research desk was able to discover this, is that there's a really strong tailwind developing for Lululemon from the Ozempic revolution. People are losing weight all around us. We don't know exactly who they are, but we know that they're not exercising. They're not really doing that much different, but they are losing weight. And when people lose weight, they feel better about themselves, and they want to show off their accomplishment a little bit. And what better way to do that than to walk into a Lululemon store or go online and buy a couple of sizes smaller than you would have a few months ago. So that's a tailwind that's actually developing for Lululemon that we did not expect. That is absolutely real and growing.
That's interesting, Andy. When you look at this, compared to Nike, Kevin mentioned, that Nike's really trailing right now. They've got a lot of issues right now. But when you look at the trends as far as consumer spending goes, do you see any weakness at all in the more affluent consumer? Because I think that's the base for Lululemon moving forward. And do you have an earnings score for this one?
Yeah, our earnings score is really bullish. This is one that I think I could get out in front of and put a bullish bet on and feel good that I'm going to be right. I've been right 4 out of the last 4. If this is the one where I'm wrong, I'll be able to live with it because the data supported my decision. From a consumer health perspective, there is an absolute growing divide, even in real time, in the country's ability to withstand inflation, the employment situation, all of that. The affluent customer that Lululemon services is almost not impacted at all by what's going on, whereas the Nike customer is different. And so I think you have to approach those two situations in a very different way. I think Lululemon is in the perfect situation from a customer demographics or customer health perspective to weather this storm. It can't get much. If it gets worse, it's going to get worse for everybody. But for now, I think their customer base is really well insulated from what's going on to the rest of the country and the rest of the world.
Yeah, resilient consumer for their products as they continue to grow. All right, great stuff. As always, Andy, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that's Andy Swan, co-founder at LikeFolio, breaking down the data for us here on Lululemon. Kevin, you mentioned gross margins nearly touching 58% for